All right, the year is 2007. Good old turtleneck Steve Jobs is about to show the world the iPhone. The whole world watches this keynote. We now know in the modern day, incontestably, the biggest technological advancement since probably the internet itself. It's an enormous shift. Suddenly, you have a little computer in your pocket that would work anywhere and do almost anything. But it's missing something. Despite looking extremely cool, offering really fun user interfaces, as well as the sleekness and design that had already been several years in the making with the iPod, the iPhone doesn't do anything new. iPhone apps didn't come until, I think it was the iPhone 3 or the 3GS. Up until then, you could get most of the features that the iPhone had on a freaking Palm Pilot. So nowadays, our days are just completely consumed by all the information on our phones. It's not really worth explaining to you that that's the case unless you're someone who's watching this as part of a time capsule, in which case, welcome from the future. I hope you're having fun downloading this directly into your brain instead of looking on your phone. Okay, so why don't today's most exciting tech trends seem to be there yet? A lot of these things seem like they should be even bigger than the iPhone. So let's talk about all the current stuff. So like VR ecosystems, AI models, cryptocurrencies, and the adjacent stuff. Why does it feel asymptotic? Now that's a really big word, right? Let's back it up. Let's talk about what that is. So an asymptote is something that never really reaches a full integer in math. It's a glass full of water that can never quite fill the cup. VR systems are cool, but for some reason, they always feel like they're not here yet. Despite over a decade of serious VR use, this year Apple makes a VR system with a great software experience, but it can't do some of the basic things that have been possible for a long time in VR. And it's, ridiculously unaffordable. Meta drops the Quest 3, but they can't seem to figure out a lot of the software experiences that Apple knows how to do. Crypto enthusiasts are always telling us that something coin, some terrible coin is the currency of the future, right? Don't worry, enough people buy it, then we can use it instead of the traditional money. AI is getting scary impressive every day. It's part of why I made this channel. So, at first we had GPT-3 running in ChatGPT, and then we had GPT running GPT-4. But, the GPT-4 context window still leaves a lot to be desired. We have all these different versions of Midjourney, and, in the beginning they're really rough, and they get there, and they get better and better and better. Some of the AI tech, geopolitically speaking, is threateningly good. We can look back on the iPhone and we can see that it didn't have some of those features at the beginnings. As a young person living there at the time, everyone was talking about this, everything was gonna change because of the iPhone, and then it did. So why don't I feel the same way about all of the emerging tech trends? Everyone's certainly trying to live up to it. Tech bros on Twitter to this day still talk about Steve Jobs and how he worked and how he led. Keynotes are turned into these big high production affairs with large screens. Everyone certainly wants to be the iPhone of their prospective market. There's no shortage of cool stuff you can try with the new tech, right? You can get into VR gaming, you could start gambling your money on shit coins. Okay, let's be real. Crypto is the weakest one I have right now in these three examples I'm bringing up. With AI, you could maybe start doing some stuff that you have to do routinely for your job and hand it to ChatGPT if you want to. I think there's three short reasons why all this stuff can't close the gap. With a lot of these, you have to actually be in it to get it. With VR, you need to dedicate a space, and maybe you need to set up trackers in your room or put on a bulky headset. With the cryptocurrency, you have to get a weird Chrome extension, and then you have to pray to God that you don't catch some sort of crypto virus. And it takes a lot of know-how to do even basic stuff in the first place. AI sort of nails this one in the case of ChatGPT. We're all used to texting and chat models, right? We do that all the time, except that ChatGPT is kind of this terrible internet boyfriend that listens to you for 5 seconds. Then it's hey, here's a blog post. Here's all this information on how to make your day better. Go fix it. So iPhones changed everything because it was super intuitive. It's this little computer with this tiny little keyboard. It fits in your pocket. You press a button, it unlocks. Not only is it hard to use, but current technology is also kind of dangerous sometimes, or at very least it puts you at odds with society. Crypto is the obvious one here for danger. It's, obviously a sort of tenuous financial product where you could easily lose money. This is not financial advice, but also don't invest in crypto. It's hard to build the future on something when no one wants to build anything but financial traps and pump and dump products. VR isn't inherently dangerous to you or your wallet, but it is alienating. Like when you put on your VR, you're shutting out the entire world around you. So AI is really cool, but it's both alienating between people and also dangerous. So like the classic example is when you turn in your term paper and your professor reads, as of my last update in 2023. Also, what happens if you're getting an email from someone using AI and like by, all tangible evidence, they seem like they are your grandmother, but they are not your grandmother. They are, some crazy person who has just generated a script and then skimmed your grandmother's voice off of your grandmother's YouTube vlog channel. Part of the reason I haven't tried any of the AI agent stuff, like the LLMs or anything, is because I kind of want to get a separate PC for it. And I want to set up a private network. What if I want to try something really experimental? What if I want to do something really, really avant-garde? I don't want all of my IoT devices compromised in the process. We have definitely seen the ill effects of smartphone use. Like, don't get me wrong, but I'm very rarely worried when I open my smartphone that the device itself is going to harm me. All right, Leslie, here's a big one, okay? This is, I think, the biggest reason why all of this stuff doesn't stack up and why the iPhone changed everything. The iPhone is all about you. Today's tech is about itself. So Zuck wants to sell you on his version of the metaverse. It's gonna be great. You're gonna spend all of your time in the Zuck world, in his world. Our AI is here to help you, I guess, but our company is really focused on creating godlike, powerful AGI tech that will be omnipotent. Safely, of course. The iPhone was freaking there for you, man. It still is there for you every day. The iPhone is like, here's a useful phone. You're a busy person. You've got plans. This would probably make them a little easier. There are versions of each of these things that I really like. I'm a VR gamer. I like VR gaming. I think it's incredible. There are so many cool VR games that you can play, and there's not enough of them. There are so many more cool VR games that people could make. AI chatbots are super fascinating to me. I think they're extraordinary and they're super cool, but today's tech doesn't really know how to get out of its own way.